We're meeting a gentleman and two ladies on the program this morning, like I did announce earlier, to discuss the plight of widows. And the plight of widows is a universal phenomenon which has caused many individuals and organizations to take steps towards addressing the neglect and deprivation of these women. It culminated in the declaration of June 23 as International Widows Day, with effect from 2011 by the United Nations. And that's why on the program today we zoom on widowhood, beyond grief, rebuilding lives and challenging stigma. And the plight of widows comes under the microscope as we receive an official from the Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family, Barrister Panje Roland, alongside two widows on the program this morning, and I'm going to meet them right away. Thank you again, Annie.
You're welcome.
And do have a lovely day. Okay, we are guested in the building this morning, and I'm glad to have two mothers on the set this morning. And Barrister, you're all welcome to the program.
And at your service.
Thank you very much for coming, dear mothers, and thank you, Barrister, for coming along with them on the program this morning.
It's the pleasure shared.
Now, we welcome Reverend Bundy Prudencia. She's the president of Owen Humanitarian Foundation. I hope I got that right.
Yes.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
And equally welcome, Ma'am Guese Lucy. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right. Barrister, permit me begin with the ladies. They say ladies before gentlemen, so let me not break the protocol here on the set this morning. Ma'am Lucy, tell me your story. Was it easy for you? Did you have support? When it happened, what was it like for you?
No, I did not have any support. And my husband died. He was a chief. His name was the Chief Mwese Ekokola Adolf. He died in 2018. I did not have any support.
What was your experience when he died? What happened?
I had the trauma. The trauma was too much to me. And the challenges that I have, I was just, early in the morning, I would get up in the morning and start to cry, barefoot. With the trauma that I have, the challenges were too much to me. Then, even the finances, my family, my husband's people were saying that my husband has left money, I'm enjoying the money.
Oh.
Where he did not leave the money because he was already on retire. Yes, he was a retired man. Yes. So now my challenges is the finances to bring these children up. I had 9 children.
With him?
Yes. I had 9 children. The first son died in this May 2024. I lost my first son. And he left a wife with 3 children. So I have, the ones which I remain, I have 8 children. Yes.
And what's your relationship like with your in-laws at the moment?
Like my sister-in-law, their problem is this, that they have been paying me my husband's money. But there's no money that they have been paying me. Because I felt the time that they were, he was a chief, they had some money that they were paying the chiefs. Now that he's not alive, he did not go to make his census, so the money cannot pass. But for them, they say that they have been paying me the money. I'm enjoying the money, I cannot give them. When there is no money. And I'm struggling to raise up these children. They have financial difficulties because I don't have finances. I'm just struggling to sponsor the children, but no one who is even supporting me, even with a pen, me a chalk. But then they only accuse me that I'm enjoying their brother's money.
Now, Reverend Bundy Prudencia, I want to hear your own side of the story. What about you? Did you experience this firsthand?
First, I am not a widow.
Yes.
I am an advocate for widows. My association has one of its objectives as a gender-based violence and child protection. So we accompany the government during some events like Women's Day, Widows Day, Rural Women's Day, Family Day. So I am here to advocate that widows must be taken care of. And in our association, we train them because we know the trauma they are going through, the financial difficulties. So we empower them so that they can be financially independent and bring up the children. We also do social counseling for them and their children. We also sponsor some children, some of the children from those homes that they have lost their parents. So Owen Humanitarian is an association taking care of widows. Like this year we did training for mushroom training and snail farming so that they can be able to support themselves. But if I tell you what my mother went through, what my sister went through, what I see, that is one of the things that made me to advocate for widows, because some of them are ignorant. Some of them don't know their rights. Some of them don't know that part of their money too, because some of the conflicts they have is that they think that their husband's money all is for them, but the law makes it that there's a portion that they share, and that is what brings them scuffle. Another thing is the family tends to disrespect these widows, like our lady over there said it. They stigmatize you. You abandoned our brother. You are wicked. Oh, you are this, you are that. So we are out here to talk and tell people that these widows are their sisters. These widows are their wives. These widows are their mothers. So as they are growing up, even the young boys, the families, let them know how to take care of these widows. So that's why I am.
You're welcome, and I'm glad that you're here. That is why I asked you if her story was relatable, and if you have known cases like that before, experienced. And you mentioned your mom, you mentioned your sister.
Yes.
Means that it's something to really consider serious. Barrister, I want to bring you in at this point. You are, Barrister, you are a senior social worker and head of the legal unit at the Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family. You're welcome again, Barrister.
Thank you very
now,
much.
When you listen to these women speak, how does that make you feel?
I'm touched because the laws of Cameroon does not sincerely discriminate in that the male gender should not dominate the female gender, because the rights, obligations and duties are shared equally with equity. And those who are engaged in, violating rights of widows are working at variance with the law. That is, they don't know that they are infringing on the provisions of our laws. Take, for instance, the Constitution, the Convention for the Elimination of All Forms of Violence Against the Woman, the Maputo Protocols, and so all of them give rights to women in general and widows in particular to assert themselves and to benefit from the rights of the land. That is to say, whether you are a widow or a widower, your rights should not be trampled or taken over by another person because of reasons best known to them. That is why the Ministry of Women's Empowerment has come up with a guide to protect widows, in particular, on their rights and benefits, so that nobody can trample on them. Take, for instance, the Penal Code in its Article 358(1), sub 2B and C, clearly states that at the death of a spouse, the wife should not be chased out from the matrimonial home. And anybody who engages in chasing that woman away shall be punished with imprisonment at from 2 years to about 10 years. And again, the Civil Status Ordinance in its Article 77, sub 1, as well as Article 227 of the Civil Code states clearly that marriages do end by either death or divorce. By so doing, once that situation comes into play, the widow has her rights. And there is equally another block that supports widows in that when your husband dies, you have 180 days to stay fallow. Why? It is to ascertain whether before he died, you were pregnant for him. After those 180 days, you are free to pick up the pieces of your life and start up with life. You can remarry, you can engage in sexual relationship, but respectfully.
Respectfully, we wish to underline that.
Yes.
Barrister, how does the law protect women or widows against harmful mourning rites? Because when the man dies, there are traditional mourning rites the woman is subjected to. Some of these rites are very harmful to the woman.
Normally, I can quote you just some few examples where at times they are accused overtly, falsely, that the death of the husband is based on her. It is not necessarily true, in that some of those traditional practices that are repugnant to national policy, equity, good conscience, and the rule of law shall be severely punished with different penal code articles, in that the widow has her rights, and where the perpetrator's rights ends, that's where that of the widow starts. So you should first of all respect her as a person, that she's undergoing stress, she's undergoing annihilation and other trauma. And the family should not forget to know that their late brother left children and equally left some property for the upkeep of the children. So if the relatives come and take away all the property, leaving the widow with the children with nothing, it now adds to what they call social stress. First, she will not have a place to live. The streets will welcome her. And once the street welcomes her, the widow herself is in a very dangerous position, as well as the children, who will be now exposed to all types of difficulties and hardship. And at the end of the day, the children might become wayward. Some of them might become street children. Unwanted pregnancy for the girls, because they will need to eat something. And to have something to eat, you have to compromise certain things about your life which are not very humanly possible. That is why the law says that a widow must maintain her status quo, because the laws of the land gives her that right to have her own share of the family property. Not just having share of the family property, but to stay in that matrimonial home. However, there is a small caveat emptor. Before, if she did not have a marriage certificate, some of those rights will be neutralized. But with the new civil status ordinance that has transformed traditional marriages into recognizable unions, once declared at the civil status registration office, she now has the right as a woman. And coming to the definition of a widow, she is that woman married to a man. But today, as long as you are living together, concubinage, come we stay, and all those things have been neutralized once the civil status registration officer is informed of that union. And if you move further to the agency of wife equity in the law of evidence, it states that even though that woman has not been carried to the civil status registration office, the fact that the community knows that she is living with this man in this community, she can go to any shop, get what will sustain the life of herself and her children, and upon coming back, the man has to pay what the woman has taken. So this new civil status registration of ordinance has given widows in particular and women in general the right to cajole their spouse to take them to the civil status registration so that their rights can be guaranteed, and by so doing traditional practices have been neutralized.
Barrister Roland Panje, senior social worker and head of the legal unit at the Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family. You see, your coming here was very timely. So much information for Cameroonians, and the ignorance is very dangerous, Barrister. And I'm sure that many Cameroonians this morning are enlightened. I'm going to continue this conversation with you shortly. Time for us to take this Vox Pop. We collected the views of some Cameroonians on what they think about some harmful mourning traditional practices, and this is what they had to say. If it's really necessary to carry on with such practices or completely eradicate them.
Good morning. About widowhood rituals, I feel like widowhood rituals are very wrong because the treatments meted out on the widow are usually very barbaric, very evil, and very, very wicked acts. The fact that only the widows are meant to suffer upon the loss of their spouses makes it worrisome.
The widow's vote right depends on the age. For example, a woman at 55 has nothing to gain in life again after losing her husband. I think at that age, she just has to confine herself with the husband's family and the children for a good generation. Whereas a girl at 20 being a widow at the age of 20, she still has to discover the world.
The way they have to live, so it is not really necessary for us to impose our culture on them. So widowhood right is not really necessary.
Oh la 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 la.
You see, what I'm holding here is a very important document, Legal Assistance Guide for Widows, and I'm told that it has been translated to 4 different local languages in Cameroon. I'm still in conversation, of course, with Barrister Roland Panje, or rather Roland Panje, I beg your pardon, who's a senior social worker and head of the legal unit and in the Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family, and I'm equally in the company of Reverend Burnley Prudential, who is the president of Owen Humanitarian Foundation, and of course Mam Ngwese Lucy, who is a widow and who decided to share her story with us on the program this morning. But before we talk briefly about this legal assistance guide for widows, I would like to ask Mam Ngwese Lucy, you say your husband died many years ago, leaving you with 9 children. Now you have 8 left.
Yes.
One is dead.
Yes.
So what is the family situation now, and what do you need? Because many may be watching this morning and want to lend a hand.
I need financial support so that I can educate the children.
What is the family? Where are the children now?
The children have 3 which are working. The other one are here. They are jobless. They don't have anything because they used to write some concours. They don't have jobs. They are just like that.
And you're based here in Yaoundé?
Yes, it's because of the crisis. Not that they shot my husband in front of me. Yes, but those gun boys. So they brought the other. My first son was in Douala. They brought me there because the trauma was too much for me. I could not even eat. I could not even any sound that I hear. It makes me as if I can go inside the forest. So now I'm left with the 8 children. It's only 3 that are working. They're the one that are supporting me to pay the house rent. I left my house. I was doing animal farming, but everything, those children took it all. I've left. If I had a farm cocoa, but now there's nobody there. I can't go there. I have a house.
It's going to be all right, yes. Definitely. I'm sure that many watching this morning would show sympathy, why not empathy with you. Maybe you want to leave a phone number this morning. Do you have one? Maybe you should just give it out there.
Okay, I'll give you a number.
Your phone number?
Yes, I should.
No, say it.
Yes.
Okay. 651 40 2222.
Say that again.
651 40 2222.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma'am Lucy. And Reverend Bundy Prudential, you said something a while ago about the obligations of widows, because we dwell more on the rights of the widows. What are some of their obligations?
Yes, dear widows, you should know that you have something to contribute to the society too. The Bible says in Timothy that you widows, until you are 60 years, then we can consider you as a widow. Because these widows, they still have sexual urge, they have desires, and they go neighbors and be making children, breaking marriages. So you widows, we are calling on you. First, you should be a Christian widow or a Muslim widow by your culture. You stick to it. You discipline your body until you go and remarry. Because most of them, if you look in the society, they are the ones breaking marriages. They are idle. They move house to house. So widows, you have a responsibility of making up your life. Add value to your life. You can go back to school. You can go back and learn some things. Secondly, you can manage your finances. Because some of them, they just dress up themselves and in their other small social meetings and solidarity meetings begin to disturb. Widows, you are called to be responsible in the church. You must be close to the priest in the church because the church has a duty to take care of you. So you too, you should contribute. You should be a prayerful widow. If you have urges, declare it. Remarry. You are allowed to remarry until you are 60. But know that if you go and remarry, you lose the rights that you had as a widow. So widows, you have rights. You also have obligations.
Thank you very much, Reverend Bundy Prudential. Lastly, Barrister, maybe we'll talk briefly about this legal assistance guide for widows.
Yes. This legal assistance guide for widows is a tool to enable the widow or widower to rewrite her shattered life script that made her to be neglected, suffering from servitude and seclusion. And this guide in itself is a sensitization vademecum, that is like a Bible for widows and widowers to read it, know the ins and outs and the benefits of it. This same guide gives the widow the necessary documents to compile to get the benefits of the late spouse. Like she said, that the family is accusing her of, making use of the husband's resources. And so it might not be true, because for you to benefit from the financial assistance of a late worker, it is not like going to the market to buy cocoyams. You have to prepare some documents. You equally have to move from the user ministry to the public service and to finance. That journey is not overnight. And the ministry is thus at their doorstep to facilitate their protections, to facilitate how the benefits can come to them so that the children should not suffer. And it equally, this same guide acts as a springboard for that widow to start up again by putting everything behind. And this guide, which is the bilingual guide, has been translated into Fulfulde, Ramala, Ewundo, and Pidgin. And that the ministry is there with technical assistance for associations, religious groups, and even families who want to be enlightened on the rights of widow to contact the ministry for them to send personnel to them to come and explain this guide, so that the woman in 2026 should not talk of annihilation, but should be talking of her rights. And for you to gain this assistance, please let me just give a contact number.
Of course, briefly, please.
You have 5 tools, that's 2 5 times, 61 and 74, as well as 6750 89 991. I repeat it. For your assistance, call this number 6750 89 991 or 52 61 74, where you lay your complaint and the ministry will take it over from there, what they call subrogation. They will now step into your problems and see into it that your negativities in your widowhood travels are solved. And to conclude, the way you handle your in-laws determines how they will treat you in the absence of your spouse.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Roland Jay, for that parting word. Senior social worker and head of the legal unit at the Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family. And thank you again, Ma'am Ngwese Lucy, for coming, and Reverend Bondi.
Okay, I would like to hand over this guide to you so that you continue with the popularization.
Thank you very much.
The rights of widow.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Thank you, ladies, for coming again. We're going to take a commercial break now, and then after this, the program continues.